Hi everybody, this is Pam with Jesus Junk Journals, and I'm working on the Abundance Journal some more, and I'm working on the cover for it. So I told you before in the other videos, I was going to use this old chenille bedspread that's kind of a peachy color. And then I've had this fabric that I thought went pretty well with it, and I cut the inside pieces. So I took a piece of newspaper, and I just took the size of the journal based on, you know, one of these signatures, and just allowed what I felt like was the right amount of space around the edge visually. I didn't measure it. And so I cut a piece of newspaper, used that as my pattern, and I cut 2 pieces of the chenille, one for the back and one for the front, and 2 pieces of this fabric for the inside of it. So now what I have is this, it's a baby quilt liner. It's cotton. I got it on Amazon, and it's a pretty big piece. I've been using it for a while, and so I'm just going to cut pieces for inside to give it a little thickness and a little bit of little body, I guess you could say. Looks like I was cutting it this way last time, maybe. Yep. So they're all about the same size, really. Now it looks like I'll have enough to cut 2 here. So I'll get a couple of pins in it just to get my fabric scissors out, which I keep forgetting about when I cut fabric. Just cut this cotton, and I'm going to leave the edges raw. So, and just like stitch through all of the layers so this cotton will let's see, so I want okay, so there's one. What did I do with the other piece of? Oh, there it is. Where is that? Okay. That's the kind of thing that sends me on a 20-minute hunt usually. How about you guys? I think I'm probably not the only one, but, and if I am the only one, don't tell me, because it'll make me feel bad. Okay. All right, so there is the cover and the back cover. And then I'm going to go ahead and stitch it and all that. Then I'm gonna stitch. I'll be doing the same thing I did to the signatures. I'm gonna attach a piece of cord like this to it, and stitch that into the actual journal. Now, last time I did this was the first time that I had ever done it, and I've not seen anybody else do it, so I just kind of, I guess, invented it as I went along. And so, now I notice I don't have my microphone on. I hope you guys could hear me. I struggled last time. You know, it was experimental. I tried a couple of different things. It didn't work, and I ended up cutting it apart and trying it before I got it to work. And so what I'm going to do, because I do remember having a little bit of trouble getting these to not shift. And also I tried to go through the covers at the same time and do it all at once, and it didn't work out. So I'm going to stitch these together now before I put covers on them, and then I'll sew the covers to this. So I'm going to stitch it together with the waxed linen thread, because it's really good and strong. So let me get my book binding kit out. And the other thing, if I remember right, that I had trouble with is I tried to start at one end and sew it back and forth until I got to the bottom, and it twisted it. It ended up not very straight, and I had to cut it apart and do it again. So I'm going to use the smallest needle because I'm going to be going through this cotton cord, and if memory serves, it was a little bit difficult. Okay, so I am going to just, I have no idea how much it'll take, because I'm going to try to, well, I'm going to do one up here, one down here, one in the middle, and actually that should be enough to hold it. So I'm just going to do, I don't know, that looks good. A random amount of thread. And you see, the other challenge was, what wanted to happen was these cords will disappear if you don't sew them right in the center. Like, you don't want to sew, I thought I wanted to sew it back here. I tried that. That did not work out because it squeezes it in the wrong place. Just trust me, that doesn't work. So you need to go in the very center of the cord on each one. And these are a little bit different heights than, just slightly. I mean, no big deal. But just kind of line it up the way you think you want it. And then very slowly, just work your way. And it's slow because it took a little bit to work through the cord. And I'm just going to go one at a time. I think I'm not in that big of a hurry. So I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail and then just stitch. Take my time because I don't want to have to do it 4 times this time. And actually, I probably need to clamp these together. I think that's what I need to do. See if I have a big enough clamp. I don't know if I do or not. Yep. I think I'll get one down here too, just to balance it out. See if I can. There. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to pull it through. And see, already it's a little, because I didn't have it clamped. So I'm going to pull it, I'm going to undo it for just a second, get these realigned, and then clamp it again. Okay. Try to keep this lined up. Okay, now let me look. Okay, so see, this one looks quite a bit, this looks, I think I want, I've already got it. Okay, I think I'm still okay. I mean, they're not any of them perfectly lined up, so I think I'm okay as long as if it's random, or not random, but uneven, if it's evenly uneven, if that makes sense. So it looks intentional, then it's okay for me. Okay, come on. Okay. So I'm trying to get it right through that middle of that cord on the side. Boy, something can, it will, doesn't it? Grab a hold. Okay, and see how this one kind of wants to fall down. So boy, on each one you got to make sure you get right in the middle of that cord. And then the needle doesn't have anywhere to go. stitch it there because that's going to pull it down a little further when I get all this done. This string is going to make it, wherever the string goes, it's going to be straight line, even if it's not a straight line right now. So I'm going to pull this. So the other thing is you want it tight, but not tight, so tight that it like goes like that. So make sure you don't have any slack. Like, see, there's kind of space. I'm going to unclamp this. There's some space like there that I don't really want. And I'm going to tie, I think I'm just going to tie a knot over here. So that'll give me something to pull against. Okay. So I'm going to pull it tight. That looks about right. Tight, but not squished. Tie a double knot here. Oop. And then I'm going to go down to the bottom. I'll tie another double knot here and go down to the bottom. And so to keep it from getting whopper jawed, as I would call it. So clamp it. And I'm going to start on this side this time and go about here. And I think I might be, maybe I can go through two at once. Or I wonder if I can do, well, I better just do two at once. This stuff's kind of difficult sometimes to get your needle through. Okay. There's that one, that one. I'm kind of hugging this. I don't know if you can tell. It's up on those clamps, and so I'm kind of holding it. And then see how that one's kind of jumped up there. Okay, hopefully I've got this in a straight line. And it looks like about that tight is what I want. Okay, so I'm going to unclamp that and just take a look at this before I do that final one in the middle. Okay. All right, so let's see if we open it up. Looks good. Where you can tell is where the signatures are joined together. And that looks pretty good to me. I really like that fabric, where you can see it like that together. And it lets the journal lay pretty flat, which is nice. That's the other thing I like about this kind of binding. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and do the third one in the middle. So I'm just going to go back through here, through the middle. And I've got 3 this time. I'm getting brave. Whoops. Ooh, that came right through too. Good deal. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure I get this one in the middle so it doesn't if you don't get them in the middle, it'll disappear down there in the middle of your journal. You don't want that. This fabric is a lot easier than the Esther journal was because I used upholstery fabric on that one. That's why it was so difficult now that I think about it. This one's a lot easier. Okay. Okay. All right, so I've got this part done. So now I can go and work on my covers, sew my covers together. And now there is this kind of situation, which is just part of how this binding works. It's a little bit loosey-goosey. I think I may have done 5 on the other one, and that might firm it up a little bit. I don't know that that bothers me, but if there's too much play in that for you, you might want to go back and do 5 instead of just 3. I think it's okay, though. Okay, so I'll go and I'm going to go stitch the covers on the sewing machine with the 3 layers of fabric, and then I'll be back. Okay, I came back real quick just to tell you that I need to cut cords for the cover as well, and they're going to be a little bit longer because the covers are longer. So I cut the cord the length of the cover, and then I'm going to use this fabric because I think it coordinates with both the outside and inside pretty well. So I'm going to use that same fabric on both the covers to join it together. So I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and do what I did on the other ones, which is do this and stitch it right along that cord. So I'll be back. Okay, I am back, and this is how they ended up. And stitching is my usual imperfect stitching. And so now I'm going to sew the covers to the rest of the binding. And I'm trying to decide. I think I'm just going to use regular thread because really at this point, this isn't going to hold it together. This is just attaching it, you know, cosmetically, so to speak. It's not going to change anything about the structure of it. So, and I also think that I'm going to go ahead and do, after I thought about it, I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more lines of wax linen thread on here, I think. I just feel like maybe it needs to be a little less wonky. I don't know if you guys watched the video when I did the Esther one, but oh, after I videoed shot it, I kind of thought to myself, boy, after people watch this, they're not going to want to try this because I made it look very difficult, I think. But I think it was just because it was the upholstery cloth that made it so hard. And then, of course, I had to redo it several times because I was trying to figure out how to make it work. And so that made it more difficult, look more difficult. Of course, I did edit a lot of that out. Okay, I'm going to go through 4, I think. I'm like Evel Knievel. Add one more. What was it he jumped over with his motorcycle? I think it was cars. I think he jumped over all kinds of different stuff, but hopefully I haven't bit off more than I can chew here. I think what I did on the last one is I took my pliers, and I think I might have to do that this time. Getting out the pliers, so if all else fails, that will get your needle through. Okay, so 4's too many. Let's see. It is a little difficult when they're sewn together to get your needle through these and then back out. Let's see if I can do 2 here. Trying to get right. I have it too far. Well, it is a lot easier with the pliers, so maybe I'll just use those. Okay, and then through the middle of that one. Guess I might as well just do them all if I'm going to use pliers anyway, huh? Okay. Oh, look at that. I tell you what, if it can wrap around something, it will. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and tie a double knot over here. I'm not sure why I didn't do that to begin with, but I didn't. Pull that over. And tie a double knot on this side, and we're done on that one. Okay, so there's 5, and it does, well, it still goes a little bit, but it's not as crazy that way. So I guess it is better with 5, a little more stable. And so now I'm just going to take a needle and thread and stitch the covers on. So the cover, I have it a little bit longer on the top and the bottom. So sure. Okay, so this is take 2. I had this stitched and it was pulling it down further and further, and I ended up with too much at the bottom. So I'm going to start over, move this up, and hopefully I'm going to start my thread inside here so that the knot goes up inside, and try to stitch this along the side, the sides of the sides of this and the sides of that, so that it lays right. We'll see if I can get that done or not. And my apologies to the seamstresses out there, the embroidery people who know how to do this so much nicer and more perfect than I am doing it. But you know, it's just how it goes. Okay. Okay, got the job done. And it looks like it lays pretty well. So I think that's all I can ask, and I'm going to go ahead and trim that. I'm going to trim that off just a little bit. Okay. And I think I'll trim. I'm going to trim this. loosen up just a little bit. I don't mind it sticking out, but I think that was a little much. And that looks like quite a bit too. So go ahead and trim that off. Okay, so there's that. Now I'll do the back cover. Okay, got that done. I'm not saying it was pretty, but I got it done. Okay, so there is that. It looks fairly even from the cover, the front and the back covers. And I'm going to cut some random threads I've got going on here. Happy to say I've got all of my signatures in right side up, which is amazing. I think last time I had to redo that for that reason too. I think I had a signature in upside down. So that's always a good thing to check. And so there's that. So I'm going to end this video and we will go on with the next thing on the next video. Thanks for watching. Click the like button if you liked it and think about subscribing, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.